Hello, welcome. So here we are, we three queens. I'm Musonda.
I'm Micheline.
And I'm Achieng.
We are going to be talking about a topic after my own heart, public speaking. And I know both of you have done public speaking, public engagements, moderating, facilitating. In fact, you're about to head out to go and do exactly that. So it's very exciting. So it would be great to hear from you and your experiences. But before we begin, I just want to share with everyone that, a lot of people, especially young people, come to me and ask me, how do you do it, Musonda? You know, you're standing in front of a crowd and you're giving a keynote and your confidence, and it didn't happen in one day.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Journey, huh?
Oh, that journey. And also, I went through moments where my esteem, my self-esteem was crashed, and how did I navigate that? But more recently, actually in December, I was moderating a very high-level session with the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. And it was incredible. And someone asked me, how did you manage that? We had a guy streaming in from space, a minister and everything. And I just said...
space, did you say?
Yes. Spaceship, the space commander, Luca Parmitano. And I was like, whoa. But you know what I do? You know what my trick is?
Yeah.
I just look above the heads of people. I never look at the faces.
You're so funny.
So what would happen if you looked someone
If you
right
saw,
in the eye?
then you saw somebody just like, look at you like...
Or winking at you like...
No.
That's so funny.
I had exactly that.
No.
I had exactly that
winker.
incident. Oh yeah, many years ago, somebody winked at me and I literally lost my train of thought.
As if it were hot.
I was like
it was like a hot guy that you'd be like, I'm sorry, excuse me. Yeah, like I was saying.
and I was like,
Or was he like, not?
what was I supposed to say? And then I gathered myself very quickly, like, get yourself together. And I sort of twisted and said, in a moment, somebody kind of gave me a little bit of a wave. I think they know me. And I sort of, I had to be clever about that.
Yeah.
But it was just daunting. I was like, what did he just do?
It's hilarious.
So your attention is kind of distracted, but I want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
No, I'm just still imagining somebody who would wink like... Wow. Now, here's a couple of things. Let's see. Do you know what? Different from you, I find people to look at. Because what happens there is that I get feedback. And hopefully, crossing fingers, it's really positive feedback. So people in the audience might nod. Or there might be have something in their eyes that looks like they acknowledge, what I'm saying. And of course, you have to look at everyone else out there, but I keep coming back, oh yes, this person, isn't that so? And so what we're going to move on to, and you're focusing on this person.
Right.
And so I just tend to do that, and I haven't met the winker yet. And now I know what I would do. But yeah, that's what I do, and I just help that it makes, it just humanizes people for me. And I try to remember there's a center, there's a back, there's a left, and there's a right. And so just making sure that the people I target cover those spaces. That makes me feel like I've filled the room in terms of my gaze and my focus. So that's just one thing that works for me.
But that's interesting you say that, Mish, because everybody tells me, the feedback they've given me is like, oh, I'm so glad that you were looking at me.
So it feels like...
It feels like it. But actually, I'm really looking above their heads and I'm trying to make contact. So it feels, so I gaze in one corner, and then the center, and then the left side. And so it feels like I'm looking at them, but I am not. Because of that distraction.
Right. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. No, but I think, we're in line.
Very similar actually to Mish. I tend to engage with my audience and I feed off the positive body language of the people who are positive. But before I get to that point of connecting, I almost get into, with any presentation, I need to center myself. And so I take time. I'll never sort of be chatting and working the room before the presentation.
Right.
Because I'm an introvert, I need time to center.
I hear you.
And get my energy in the right place. So I need time on my own. And then when I get in, now I'm on that energy, and when I'm almost like in a zone where initially I'm not seeing at all, because I'm completely in a zone. It's the most strange thing.
Yeah.
And then once I get into a role, now I start to see, because I see the responses. And then the other really big trick that I use, it's not really a trick, but it's kind of happened naturally. I tell a lot of anecdotes.
Right.
It doesn't matter what I'm presenting on. I've always got a story about there was this one time.
Yes.
Good.
You
I
know,
love
real
that.
stories, because
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the storytelling seems to work really well for me with
so
all the
powerful.
presentations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, there's nothing like, you know, in these days of like PowerPoint, death by PowerPoint, we call it. And there's nothing like, you know, either, you know, trying to, you know, hold a crowd and sort of, you know, flip through this, you know, slides as well, which is what happens a lot in you know, my business, you know, kind of presentation. So I don't like that. I try to minimize as much as possible. I also use my hands. It's not something that I've practiced, but through a little bit of training, I have learned that, you know, it helps because obviously, you know, when you're standing there, you're alone on this empty stage and you don't want your hands to be by your side.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So in addition, I just find the use of hands to gesture or to emphasize.
Right.
And you'll see, you know, now that you've heard this, if you hadn't noticed, you'll see like a lot of leaders, a lot of speakers, you
Yeah.
know, will talk about, you know, that one thing or they'll do, you know, this or this. And that just
Kind
helps
of be
to bring home,
emphatic
you know,
and-
to bring
yeah.
home a point. So those are two other sort of, you know, tips
Yeah.
and tricks that come to mind that work for me.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
You know what I've done actually? Because I visit different places and I've worked in different parts of the world, so I actually print these postcards,
Yes.
blank postcards of either a visit to Lake Victoria, for example, or my climb to Rwenzori,
Oh, nice.
or my trip to Peru. And so when I speak, I have a card. And so, you know, people have seen these pictures. I'm like, why? Because I have my notes there, and that my prompt is to say, you know, talk about personal story first, and then this, and then closure with this. And I
Yes.
look at them, and then I, you know, or when I'm moderating and I'm looking, you know, having eye contact
Right.
with the person. And I think for me, what's also very important, I think the part that you talk about, the personal stories, a lot of times, especially in my field, in the environmental field, sometimes our stories are very disconnected. We talk as if we are not a part of the planet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you're not a part. So if I'm talking about degradation or landscapes or deforestation, I give an example of a space where I visited.
Yes.
What did that manifest like? Or what did I see? So for
Yes.
me, it's just, you know, how do we give these examples
Exactly.
of your community?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how is it affecting your community,
Yeah.
your people? And yeah, so it's exciting.
Yeah, no, and you know, as you speak, I'm just also wondering, I mean, I'll ask you both if you bombed it, like you just bombed that, you know, lecture, presentation, speech that you gave, it just didn't go well. Do you have an example of that?
Oh yeah, oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
Do you
yeah,
remember
many.
a time, do you have like a specific
No,
that time
absolutely.
when it just didn't work?
No, absolutely. I mean, I've had several for sure. I mean, there was one time a few years ago when I was asked to speak about something, and I was so ill prepared, and also I didn't have the statistics. So of course, you know, people were like, so how many of those, you know, what is the percentage of the loss in that place? And I was like, and then I thought, okay, I better turn this very quickly.
Yes.
And I said, quite frankly, and being authentic and honest
Yes.
in the moment, I think is important. And I said, quite frankly, I don't know. I didn't really look that up, but it's something I'm going to research after, and I'll be keen. And
Yes.
and I, you know, inside, I mean, I was like a duck underwater.
No, but it's so much better like than faking the numbers. I mean, what would you have done? Numbers are numbers, right?
And then someone would quote me on those numbers,
Yeah.
which would be wrong.
Exactly. No, I'm so glad you mentioned preparing. I find that you can never over prepare.
Exactly.
You know, even if you do
Preparation is
this
everything.
like, you know, like
Yeah.
you breathe this.
Have you had a moment, a bombing moment?
I have, yeah, a few. I mean, the one that I'm remembering is where actually I just didn't prepare. I was so swamped with work, I just didn't have time to properly prepare. And so I was throwing together a couple of things like maybe minutes to the presentation. And, you know, I knew when I
Yes.
stood up there and started talking, I knew, oh my God, I look so not prepared. And actually, I had a lovely boss who told me afterwards, at the end of the meeting, he said, you know you weren't prepared.
Yeah.
Because it was a big conference, and
Yes.
not everybody was speaking. And he told me, you didn't prepare for that.
Yes.
I said, honestly, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
But it was such a big lesson.
That's a
Because
lesson.
you know, it damages your credibility, but it also shakes your confidence because
Totally.
you, you kind of let yourself, you know, mess it up.
Exactly.
You know, whatever the reason was. you
Yeah.
know?
So I need to tell you, ladies, my late South African grandmother,
Yeah.
I mean, she would always tell because my twin sister is taller than me. She's almost your height, I think.
Really?
Yeah. So my grandmother would be like, posture.
Back straight, that already makes me go.
You know?
Yes.
And so I've never for the longest realized what lesson that was. Because how I sit or how I present myself or how I stand matters. And I don't know if that really also has worked, like when you're bombing and you're kind of like, oh my God, you droop a bit.
Yes, because you know it's tanking.
You know, standing straight. I mean, if that's the only thing you do, like you get up there, stand straight. And smile. Do you know, sometimes we're so in that moment and it's a serious thing, right? This is work and it's a serious topic. I just find that a smile, well, first of all, I just genuinely actually smile a lot. I've gotten that feedback as if, you know, someone was kind of complaining. I'm like, I can't help it. I just smile. But in that moment, when you're giving these talks, I just find it's, you know, it's softening. It's, I mean, who doesn't like a smile? Right? But we forget. So tip, smile. Just smile.
Absolutely.
You know?
And then what you wear for me when I moderate, and I'm sure you can do some Google searches, you find that I love to wear a red dress.
Oh.
I love my red dress.
Really?
Because
And
it's the
why?
one color that just
picks you up.
Yeah,
Really?
and just gives me
red
the
is
confidence.
power. I don't know. I don't think about the color so much, but I have learned one thing, which is there's a time when I didn't prepare, and another level of preparation is check out the site before you go. Go, you know, where's the room? Where's the stage? How am I entering? Where am I sitting before I enter? I didn't do any of that, right? So I just sort of, I'm called from, you know, thank God I was near the front, and there were these 4 stairs to get up. And so one thing I learned is honestly, a short skirt, and I'm not talking about miniskirt club short, just even, you know, say this short just doesn't work because I'm climbing up the steps and I'm pulling.
Already.
Right? So I have learned, to do like midi or pants, you know, just because the whole pulling and tugging it just already you look so uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So that's just one thing. Anything you wear?
You know, I'm very conscious about what I wear when I present. I always say first impressions count. And so I'm very deliberate about it, right down to your shoes. Because when you're walking, depending on the size of the conference, you know, maybe you're being filmed as you walk in, you know, whether it's the steps you take. As you take the steps, people are looking at you because it's your moment. So I'm always very conscious, right down to the detail. And I did have one disastrous time when we had a big event in Nigeria.
Don't tell me you fell, although you can always recover from a fall.
No, I've fallen in a play before, but fortunately I was like 19 years old, so you know.
That's for another day, because we want to know. Okay.
No, but this other one, it was an event, and this was before gel nail polish became a whole thing.
Right.
And so there was an activity, it was to do with a sports event. And so you had to, I think there was a raffle of sorts, and you had to open this ball, this plastic ball. And I went to open it, and of course the cameras have zoomed in, and I did this, and it chipped my nail polish because it was not gel days. Now we know we're older and wiser, and we gel ourselves, we gel things, you know, so that they stay put.
Okay.
So this thing, I did the ball, and it zoomed in, but my nails had been chipped because I was trying to open the ball and it chipped the nail polish. And I had to do it 3 times. So you can imagine by the time that segment, it was a big event.
Yes.
A big whatever, you know. With the media, you can imagine I'm opening. So now it reached a point I was trying to open the ball and hide my nails.
I mean, because you're so conscious of it.
Because I knew, shoot, my nails have chipped.
A hot
mess. Because I tried to open the, you know, the two plastic pieces of the ball. You know, so sometimes, you know, you have these disastrous things. And you might not have a chance to kind of make a joke out of it.
Right.
So
what do you just the rest of the day you just go around like this? Just hello everyone. Just hide your nails.
You know what? It was just, I think I said something like, oops, there goes my nail polish. And then I just figured, you know, I can't stop now. So
exactly.
And I knew we're human.
And the authentic thing you said is that sometimes just recognize it, make light of it, own it, and then it doesn't look as bad. And when people get horrible about it, they can't be as horrible because you made it a light moment.
Oh, I had a moment where my earring just fell. I mean, I was in the middle of administration, just going, ding, ding, and I said, well, there it goes. But we'll just leave it there for the moment because we have to continue talking.
Oh my goodness.
So, on that note, ladies.
I love it. How she does it with such panache.
We're very colorful and we're very happy. You look stunning. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
We would love to hear from you, your experiences on public talking, on what you're doing. Please subscribe and also check us out. We're now on Facebook at We Three Queens of Africa, and we're very excited. But this is all we have time for, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Ta-da.
Bye.